In this video, we will delve into what makes an online course engaging. Oftentimes, online courses are thought of as socially isolating or just plain unexciting. While notably different than the traditional class, an online course is not inherently any less engaging. The online environment does pose new challenges, but it also offers unique benefits. Recognizing both its limitations and strengths, this video offers several strategies and tools to consider when creating an effective online learning experience. One of the first things to consider when moving experiential learning online is the idea of psychological safety. Psychological safety allows students to express themselves freely, seek guidance, take risks, and speak up about concerns. Since implementing new forms of learning into a course can lead to student disengagement, it is incredibly important to think about psychological safety as we reconceptualize what experiential learning can look like. There are three main strategies that can be implemented in order to promote psychological safety in the classroom. First, it's important to establish clear rules. Students should brainstorm, define, and vote on classroom guidelines to form a code of conduct. Second, focus on promoting relationships. Students should have the opportunity to get to know each other and their instructor in the first classroom session. Instructors should also encourage peer relationships through group work. Finally, we must provide practice fields. The risks associated with failure can be removed by offering practice fields. In other words, low-stakes activities that are not formally assessed will allow students to feel more confident in learning and applying new concepts. With a psychological safe environment established, students will be more open to exploring new learning methods such as learning contracts. Students would identify their learning goals and then develop a plan to reach them, considering what actions they would commit to, the resources that they would use, and how they would track and evaluate their progress. Within the literature, students demonstrate greater awareness, accountability, motivation, and confidence when they are self-directed learners. Following learning contracts, we also recommend reflective journals. Instructors can easily adapt the traditional journaling and feedback exercises of online courses for experiential learning. Online courses may even enhance reflective practices by offering a superior environment for quiet contemplation. Reflections could take the form of vlogs, blogs, audio recordings, or private journals, allowing for multiple means of expression. To extend reflective practices, you could also use e-portfolios. E-portfolios provide a virtual space for students to critically assess their experiences and make connections among different courses, assignments, and activities both in and out of the classroom. The heart of our recommendations for course engagement revolves around peer learning. Student-to-student interaction is crucial in creating a sense of community and enriching transformational experiences in online courses. In the blended classroom, students can engage in discussions by replying to each other on forums. To expand upon the typical discussion forum often found in online courses, consider using Quectures. Quectures individualize learning while promoting critical inquiry by asking students to compose questions related to course materials in order to progress toward their learning objectives. After each student has come up with a question, they need to revisit and discuss their own questions as well as those of their peers, which are of interest to them. Another activity to consider is collaborative note-taking. Students could use Google Docs, Microsoft Word, or Microsoft Note to create a class notebook. Each lecture, a few students would act as lead note-takers while their classmates would be encouraged to add additional information. This frees students to focus on active listening and participate in discussions. To enrich a course notebook, students could also annotate course readings through perusal. Perusal allows students to highlight points for discussion or clarification, follow questions they are interested in, and respond to each other's points. Due to these features, perusal can also be used in asynchronous courses as a virtual tutorial or seminar. Jigsaws offer another opportunity for peer learning. In jigsaws, students are placed in small groups, each with a different topic. Once students are comfortable with their content, they then move to a new group where each member has covered a different topic to discuss what they've learned. Finally, student-led reviews could help students develop a deeper understanding of the course content. Students would be given the opportunity, either individually or in groups, to present a review from their last class to the rest of their peers before the new lesson starts. In addition to classroom activities, larger team projects are an amazing way to facilitate peer learning. When forming teams, consider whether students will have to work asynchronously or synchronously. Synchronous groups may be formed by time zones and work habits. Asynchronous groups offer students greater flexibility in completing their work and are therefore more accessible and likely to support greater diversity. However, when creating asynchronous groups, it's important to consider how you will facilitate meaningful interaction. For these groups, it's crucial that each team member is committed to providing frequent suggestions and edits to each other's work. Gantt charts would be an amazing way to help keep these teams on track. Virtual team spaces are also important to online group work. These spaces should include the tools to communicate and task plan, such as workflow systems, group calendars, and timesheets. To mitigate social loafing and develop common understanding around expectations, groups should also form their own contracts. The contract should include each team member's availability and contact information, a code of conduct, and individual responsibilities. To ensure that each student gets a chance to exercise their leadership and avoid uneven workloads, teams can also implement a system of rotating leadership. During each student's time as team leader, they would be responsible for facilitating discussions and overseeing the group's progress. Finally, for large projects, it's important to develop self and group evaluations to encourage accountability and provide learners with constructive feedback. While we encourage courses to be asynchronous when possible in order to increase accessibility, we recognize that synchronous or blended models will likely take advantage of web conferencing. While Zoom is a good option for small meetings, it does not have the functionality to support large groups where most of the participants will be speaking. For large discussions, Blackboard Collaborate is a better alternative. Finally, I want to touch on the importance of consistent feedback. Ongoing guidance and feedback encourages self-efficacy and motivation. However, students in online courses often lack the immediate responses and support that naturally occur in a traditional course environment. Therefore, it is crucial that the instructor is visible and engaged in the online platform, for example, through discussion boards or virtual team spaces, and provides thorough feedback on student work. Thank you for taking the time to explore the possibilities of e-learning with us. We hope that after this video you feel more confident in engaging students in online courses. If you are interested in further exploring this topic or learning about additional tools and activities, please see our accompanying handout and final recommendations list. With the commitment of our stakeholders, we know that we can continue to strengthen the close-knit sense of community that makes Brescia so special.